Hello friend, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cotton and this is Cotton's Creations 42, and today we are going to dye some yarn. I collected some pokeberry over the summer from my backyard. This is what pokeberry looks like, in case you didn't know. And it has a beautiful bright pink fuchsia color inside of it, and you can use that to dye natural fibers. And so we are going to attempt to dye this cotton yarn today. I have tried this one other time. I did it last year in February, and unfortunately I boiled my dye, which is a big no-no when you're doing natural fibers, and it turned out into this, it's an okay orange color, but it's not what I was going for, so we're gonna give it another go. Are you ready? Let's get to it. All right, so here we are in my kitchen, and I have everything I need, I think, to do this. I have got a pot full of pokeberries. I'm going to add water to that. Since I accidentally boiled it last time, I'm going to attempt to do it in a double boiler. I got this big pot that I can put that smaller pot into, and I'm going to use the bottom for a plant, like a plant tray, to keep it up off of the stove so that it doesn't get too hot. And I have some gloves for dealing with the pokeberry because pokeberry is toxic, so you don't want to use anything that you would use for food to do dyeing with. You should have separate pots for all of that. And B, it stains things, and I don't want to go into work tomorrow with pink hands. So fun. I also have a couple other things. I have a strainer that is specifically for dyeing. I have some alum to do a mordant with, which is something that you do to the yarn before you dye it. I have some spatulas and it looks like a spork. And I have a bowl that I can use for dyeing. I also have some vinegar because we're going to want to put a cup of vinegar in here with the dye as it cooks, and my cup. And then I have some of the yarn I've already turned into hanks that are going to go into the dye bath after they have been mordanted, and it is all ready to go. Alright, so I am going to go ahead and fill this with water and put a cup of vinegar in it, and then I'm going to get it going. Also, the recipe that I am using, the instructions that I'm following, I have linked down below in the description if you're interested in doing this yourself. And I highly recommend trying dyeing yourself because it is a lot of fun. Alright, I'm going to go fill this with water. Alright, I have filled this with water until it's just above the berries. And it's the bubbles in there, I will show you with the camera in a minute. But they are this beautiful fuchsia color. I love it so much. And then I'm going to put a cup of white vinegar. Whoop. Just about. Pour that in. And now I'm going to fill up my second pot with some water. Make sure there's no air bubbles underneath that tray. Now I'm going to put this on top and hope that I didn't put too much water in there. Oh, very close. It's very close. Alright, so I am going to turn this on and let the double boiler underneath come to a boil and check the temperatures and make sure that everything is okay. And I guess I'll bring you in for a close-up. That's what it looks like. Oh, I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to have beautiful fuchsia, hopefully, fingers crossed, fuchsia yarn that I made in my own kitchen. It's going to be so exciting. All right. I'm going to turn this on, and it needs to boil for about 2 hours, and then it's going to need to cool down, so I'm not going to get to the dyeing until later tonight. But yeah, I'm very excited. Let's get started. Here's a close-up of the pokeberries, and it's making some very funny noises right now. So it's just getting started simmering, and look at the color already that is like popping up in those bubbles. Oh my gosh. Oh, fingers crossed, you guys. Fingers crossed for a wonderful pink color. And so far my double boiler setup seems to be working just fine. So that is awesome. So it's been boiling for 2 hours, and I did have to add some water into the double boiler about halfway through, so keep that in mind if you're going to use the double boiler method. And it is looking so good. Here, let me just it's kind of reddish, and that's cool. I like red. Red is definitely one of the colors that you can get out of Pokeberry. It has to do with the metals that are in your water and the vinegar and the salts that you add. So I'll be totally fine if I get a red color out of this. I am very excited about it. Oh my gosh, look at that. Anyway, now I'm gonna let this cool, and then when that is done, I will strain it, and then I'm going to mordant the cotton yarn, and then we can dye it, and so much fun. All right, I'm gonna let this cool for a while, and I'll be back. All right, so my pot has cooled down, and it is cool enough that I can handle it, so I am going to strain it now. And I'm going to do that into my double boiler pot because, again, I don't want to use any of the things from my kitchen. And I don't have a big enough bowl. I don't think this bowl is big enough, although I did use it last time. But I think I was using a smaller amount. Okay, so how I'm going to do that is I have my strainer and I have a towel. And I'm going to strain it through both of those, kind of like this. And I'm going to try and do it so you guys can see what I'm doing. There we go. So here we go. Oh, you know what I should do before I do all that? Put my gloves on, because I don't want to get pink dye all over my hands. That would be a smart thing to do, don't you think? All right. So we got gloves on. Strainer ready. Here we go. Oh wow, that is red. So exciting. Alright, so I had to rinse out the towel because it got clogged with berries and stuff, and it's doing it again, but we're almost done. Now you do not want to pour this into your compost pile. You should put this directly in the trash according to the website that I'm following, because if you put it in your compost pile, you will get 500,000 pokeberry plants, and unless you're going to do this very often and for profit, you probably don't want that. So make sure that you throw the excess away. All right, now when this is done, I'm going to pour it back into my pot, and then I'm going to clean this big pot out, and I'm going to mordant my cotton yarn in there. So that's the next step. I'll see you then. This rag kind of looks like a crime scene rag. Oops, there is a berry in there. There's like 2 berries in there. I'll see what I can do to get those out. Not that it's a huge deal, but you want your dye to be pretty clean. This looks like grape juice. Love it. Alright, so now I'm going to wash this out, and then I'm going to mix up my mordant, which is, I think, I'm going to have to look at the recipe, but I think it is supposed to be, yeah, I'm going to have to look at the recipe. Alright, I looked it up, and the recipe is 8 parts water to 1 part vinegar. So we're going to do 2 quarts of water and to 1 cup of vinegar, and then a teaspoon of alum. And we're going to put that in our big pot, and then we are going to put the yarn in there, and we're going to bring it up to a boil and let it boil for, I think, just a few minutes. And then we can put it in the dye bath. So fun. Okay. Let's do that. 2 quarts of water. Check. I'm going to need a lot more than 2 quarts of water because I just realized I'm doing a really big batch of yarn. Let's see if the yarn, how well the yarn fits in there at 4. Let's add the vinegar. That was 4 quarts of water, so I'm going to need 2 cups of vinegar. A little bit more. Obviously this is not a precise science, so I can do that. Just splash it in there, it's fine. Yeah, so only 2 of them look like they're gonna fit in this pot, which is great. Wonderful. So we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of alum. Or maybe just 1 teaspoon of alum. I think 1. Let's just do 1. I'll do a heaping teaspoon. All right, I'm going to bring this up to a boil and then we will do the next steps. So here's the yarn in the pot. It's starting to simmer. Now the recipe, I did read it, and it said to bring it up to a boil and then let it simmer for an hour at least. And also I read that you're not supposed to do this in an aluminum pot, and unfortunately this pot is aluminum. I bought it at Savers about 2 days ago and I didn't even think about that, which I should have, but well, we live and we learn, right? So I'm not sure what the aluminum is going to do, if it's going to have an effect on the color, but I guess we will find out together. All right, so it has been an hour. This has been simmering, boiling in the pot. So now it is time to put it in the actual dye. And then we're going to bring it up to a boil. I wonder if I can put you down a little bit. Woo. Maybe you're too top heavy. Okay, if we don't move too much, we might be able to see everything. All right, so we're gonna put the dye into the yarn into here, and then we're gonna pour the mordant into there too. And then we're gonna put it all back in here and bring it up to a boil again. Here we go. Oh, I think it's gonna be red. It looks real red. Oh, that's so exciting. All right, then we pour the rest of this in here. Wow, look at it go. All right, let me fill this with water. All right, so I've got my double boiler ready again. Let's go ahead and push all of this into there. Oh man, it's already soaking it up. It's pink. It's totally pink already. Oh man. All right. This is exciting. So I'm gonna put this in here. And I'm going to add some more water because that's definitely not enough. But I am going to turn on my stove and maybe see if I can get some of these seeds out of there. Although a couple of seeds don't really matter too much. All right, so I'm going to bring this up to a simmer, and it's going to simmer for 2 hours, and then after that we get to take it out and take a look at it. Yay! been 2 hours and I have turned it off, and now I'm going to take the pot out of the pot and we'll take a look at what the yarn looks like. It's gonna need to cool down before I can take the yarn out all the way, because I don't want to squeeze it while it's super hot, so I'm gonna let it sit for a little while. But let me pull it out and let's have a look at it. All right, so I definitely think the aluminum pot probably had some effect on the color that we're getting, because it looks like, I don't think you can see this on camera, but if I can pull up, there's like some dark spots that have happened. They'll probably show up better after it dries, and we'll take a look at it. So I think that there was definitely some sort of chemical reaction with the aluminum pot, so I'm going to have to find a different pot to do my mordants in, which is fine. I can actually use most of my kitchen pots for the actual mordant because it is not toxic. It's just salts and vinegar and water. The thing that you don't want in your kitchen stuff is the pokeberry. So yeah, I'm going to let this cool, and then I will come back when I'm ready to pull it out. Yay! The hard part's done. Yay! All right, the time has finally come. It has gotten cool enough that I can handle it. Just find this. The next step is to squeeze out all of the excess. You don't want to wring it, especially if you are doing like a wool, because wringing it could felt it a little bit. So just start at the top, squish your way down. It looks pretty orange, I gotta say, in this lighting. Definitely think that the aluminum pot had an effect, but it's pretty cool. I'm excited. I've said that a lot, I know, it's okay. Awesome. Let's do the next one. Yeah, it's really orange. You see it matches my orange towel. That's cool though. I like it. All right, I'll see you guys in the morning when it's all dry. Good morning, it is the next day and I just washed out my yarn, and here is the big reveal. Dun dun dun! It turned out an interesting color. It is a lot paler than I expected it to be, because when I pulled it out of the dye bath it was a lot darker, but there was just a whole lot of dye still left on it. And it is peach. It is a peachy color. I love it though. It's great. I made that. I did that with Pokeberry from my backyard that I harvested and then like turned into a dye and created colored yarn with it. What a world. Awesome. I am going to dye my hair pink though, I think, because I need some fuchsia in my life, but that's a story for another day. So yeah, thank you for coming along this journey with me. I hope you had a good time. I had a lot of fun doing it. And if you want to stick around, like and subscribe. I upload Fridays around noon Central Time. And yeah, until the next one, I'll see you later. Bye!